Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on 790 The Bet. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency and Wally Hatchett's Comfort Food and Drinks at 6439 Summer Avenue.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. I'm Tony Dolly, sitting in for Larry this week, along with Frank Barton and Ron Wong here in the studio. And on the phone, we have Bobby Lane, pro angler, and Bobby had won the Red Crest Cup recently on Grand Lake outside of Tulsa. And Bobby, congratulations on that. And we are going to have our resident fishing expert, Ron Wong, just ask you a few questions if you don't mind answering them.
No, guys, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure.
Bobby, first of all, congratulations on a really, really big win in professional fishing. You go to Grand Lake in kind of a weird weather pattern where it was up and down, hot, cold, everything else, a lot of funky weather and everything else, and you go in and you beat the best of the best professional bass fishermen in the world on Grand Lake there. Tell our listeners a little bit about your preparation, because it was interesting to see how you prepared for those fish.
Yep, so Grand Lake was a bunch of curveballs. You hit that on the head. We were dealt with a little bit of a warming trend. I was actually in shorts in practice, and then we had a hard rain and cold front come through. The first morning of takeoff, it was 30 degrees. So, I mean, that's kind of the way it's been all year. But my preparation was pretty simple. I put a Berkley Fritz Side 5 HD Brown in my hand, and I was running the backs of the creeks all over Grand Lake of the Cherokees there. Kept it simple, Abu Garcia crank and reel, 7.6, medium heavy winch, 12-pound line, and I would just go in the backs of those creeks and crank the last rock in those creeks. And not all the creeks had the fish, but the creeks that I did find have them, I would just mark on my Lowrance Electronics. And then, that first day of the tournament, it was cold and windy, and the water was still down that first day. It was kind of weird. The water did not come up the first day of the tournament.
Came up, though, on the second day, though, didn't it?
It started to come up on my second day of fishing. Yes. No, everybody fished 2 days. I'm sorry. So, yes, it started to come up on the second day of fishing. And, man, it came up, it comes up quick. I had no idea that all that water took that long to raise the Grand Lake of the Cherokees. But when it came up quick. And there was a lot of muddy water and a lot of trash in the water. So, down the lake towards Drowning Creek, where I did most of my damage on that final day, it stayed clean and didn't get affected. And the high water actually was clearer down there and warmed up faster. And that's where I did my damage. But preparation was, when you think of the Grand Lake of the Cherokees that time of the year, you think of the days are longer, spring's in the air, the fish are going to kind of be transitioning into that pre-spawn. Get out of the winter pattern, start looking into the springtime kind of mating season, spawn time. And that's what I focused on, and when the days get longer, the fish kind of sense that. And I stayed kind of in that mentality the whole week was. And
that Fritz side, that Fritz side that you use.
Is bad news. That thing is bad news, man. If there's a fish around, it's going to eat that Fritz side. I'm telling you, that is the best shallow water crankbait made today.
A good friend of mine and a friend of yours also, David Fritz, helped design that along with those wonderful engineers there at Berkeley. But the color of yours was it was a crawfish color more than anything else, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. It was called HD Brown. I hear they're pretty hard to get now.
Yeah, there's none on the shelf.
I wonder whose fault that is.
Yeah, well, I'm glad because it's a great company, and I'm glad to be helping them. But the thing I love about the HD is it's a real lifelike pattern, and that was a real lifelike crawdad that had some orange on the belly, and I think it was just a little different than the standard red that all the fish have been seeing for years and years. You know, when people think of early spring, they think of red, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it was weird. Red was good, but the Fritz side HD5, the HD brown was just lights out. There was no comparison. They ate it better. They had more hooks in it, and it was, you wouldn't think color means that much of a difference. Something you're winding that fast, but it meant the world to them fish.
So, going into the last day of the tournament, Bobby, what was the pressure like to win? And also, you walk us through that last day, especially the last minute of your last day. That is what people need to hear of why you never quit until the clock strikes 0. But tell us.
Boy, you hit that one on the head, man. And I've been down this before. I lost a tournament last year by 2 ounces. I lost a major championship, the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit title this year. I caught 5 of the biggest fish up there in La Crosse of the whole tournament, and the guys still beat me. I mean, that's a lot of money left on the line out there.
Yes.
And,
big difference between first and second.
That last day was going as planned. I caught the first fish right off the bat. I was the first guy on the score tracker, and as the day progressed, I just chunked that HD brown around, man, and I caught a few fish on it, and I knew I had to do something different in the last hour and a half. I was finding myself 10, 12, 13 pounds back, and the only way to win was to either move or try to do something different. And I came up to this little old horseshoe in the back of Drowning Creek back there, and there was an old laydown hanging out, and I flipped my jig in it, and I caught a 2.5-pounder. My next flip, I lost a 4-pounder, and then right around the corner was a shallow dock, and I pitched under that, and I caught like a 211. And I'm kind of thinking, okay, this is where the fish have moved. They have moved to this shallow pattern. So I ran up the way a little bit in Drowning Creek, and I was going to go fish this one dock that had some brush on it, and I pulled over in the back of that creek. There was a laydown, and it's weird. I looked at it on Google Earth after the tournament. The laydown is completely out of the water on Google Earth, and now the water has risen 3 feet, which is about half a foot over normal pool. We were 2.5 foot low to start with, or 2. Yeah, it came up, quite a bit, and that log had about a foot of water on it. And I flipped my jig to it, and I caught a 311. The dock in front of it was the game-changing fish besides the next one we'll talk about, but it weighed 6 pounds, 3 ounces, Berkley 100% fluorocarbon.
People, he was 12, 13 pounds down with less than 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, and this is when you never give up. You're never out of any tournament. I've been watching heavy hitters that's going on Palestine right now, and they got a rat race going on. Anybody can win that one. And but anyways, I'm doused between 2 cables that are 2-3 foot apart. I walked down the side of my Phoenix. That fish had to swim under my boat so I could grab my line. I got my line and hand lined that fish in, and I immediately then made a move to the back of Drowning Creek where I had just come from and said, I'm going to pick this place apart. With 14 minutes to go, I catch a 2-1. It got me 6 ounces from the lead.
Yeah.
With 2.5 minutes to go, I get another bite. I set the hook, and I've been down this road before. I know what it's like to be ounces away from tons of money, the big trophy, the whole confetti, the fireworks. I mean, this is the life-changing moment. Guys, I weighed a fish at Palestine just 2 days ago that weighed 115, and then it went to 114. The fish at Tulsa, the fish at Grand Lake of the Cherokees, I got that fish in, and I said it's got to weigh 2 pounds. It weighed 115 on the first weigh. It weighed 115 on the second weigh. Now think about it. The fish is sitting in my hands. All the water is dripped off by this time.
Right.
I re-weigh that fish for the final and third time. That's all you're allowed. It's 3 re-weighs. And it went from 2-1 and locked in at 2 pounds, and they crowned me the champion because it went down like that. And I'm telling you, I've weighed some just since then that haven't even sniffed a peak at 2 pounds. So God is good. I'd rather be lucky than good, or put whatever high yachty you want on this thing, or whatever it is. It was meant to be, and nobody was going to stop that fish from going 2 pounds. And it was just an absolute deal breaker. You couldn't have scripted it any better, man. It was awesome to have the limo ride back to the Coliseum there. And
that's an hour and a half ride too, and the feeling you must have had to get in front of that crowd that they had there in Tulsa had to be amazing.
Yeah, and it was an hour and a half in my Toyota.
Yeah,
and that limo ride, it only took us an hour because we were flying with a police escort. So it was super fun. I got to sit in there with the top 5 and got to enjoy the celebration with them. And then I'm not kidding you, when I came out of that limo, it's like my life changed forever. It was paparazzi, 50 cameras, and then the hard breathing, trying to lift that big trophy up over my head in front of all those people at the expo, guys. It was, I haven't got to relive it in a couple of days, and I'm doing it now. So I appreciate you letting me relive it some more, and I'm looking forward to seeing that trophy again soon. I promise. It's been at home, and I cannot wait to get back there and check it out.
Well, you came close at Palestine. You made the knockout. You made the knockout round and missed out a little bit on the championship round. But there's going to be better days for Bobby Lane, I can tell you. You are the man out there, and certainly we at Outdoors with Larry Ray want to congratulate you again. We've got your phone number now, Bobby, so we're going to keep up with you as you finish out this season on the MLF Bass Pro Tour.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad you got my phone number. And if I'm only going to get on the show when you win a tournament, then yes, I hope we get to talk again real soon.
We'll have you on more than that, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, guys, for everything. I appreciate you letting me relive that memory again. I hope all the listeners enjoyed it. Go to MajorLeagueFishing.com. You can check all that action out. It's still on the website, and Go down to just scroll right to the last hour and 30 minutes and watch that big one, and then right at the end I catch that 2-pounder. It's quite the honor, and I'm humbled to be the champion, and I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Thanks.
Safe travels home, buddy.
Thanks, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be right back. We'll be right back with more of Outdoors with Larry Ray.